Hey everyone, my name is Sean, and this is the Guidance Guy channel, where we talk to military and veterans about anything except politics and religion. My aim is to bring you useful, insightful information on varying topics, but the central theme is how you relate to the world around you. I use anecdotal information or experts in certain subjects to ensure that the highest quality information makes it to you all. How's it going, everybody? By popular demand, I have been requested to recount kind of all the things that I've done over my career, last 17 years, and then everything, that I've done outside the military as well. Just hitting some of the high points and just letting everybody get a sense of who I am, where I've been, what I've done. And I will do so to the best of my ability. I've done a little bit of research, but trying to dig up all the things that I've done over the last 17 years is proving to be a lot more difficult than I originally anticipated. So I'll just do the best I can by memory. Obviously, I'm probably going to leave a few things out. So if you wind up, finding some extra things I've done, or maybe I remembered one or two dates wrong, you'll have to forgive me ahead of time. But to the best of my memory and to the best of my recollection, I'll tell you everything that happened. And I'll also try and include some pictures and maybe some videos of some of the things that I've done, just to kind of give you a sense of what a lot of those things looked like and some of the evolution of my shooting over the years, and obviously some of the other things that I've done also. So to kick things off, in August of 2006, I joined the United States Marine Corps. I graduated a private first class October of that year. I had been the guide pretty much the entire time. I'd say maybe out of the 13 weeks that I was in boot camp, maybe a week of it I wasn't guide, which retrospectively was probably a terrible idea because the drill instructors, God bless them, they mess with you relentlessly in order to get you to understand a lot of the value of leadership and the dedication that it takes in order to be a leader. And it was a lot more difficult than I had thought, but I also didn't see a way out of being in that position. So it kind of was what it was. After that, went to Marine combat training, where obviously you learn a little bit more on the combat skills side of the house. It taught us how to shoot with optics this time. That was my first taste of shooting with an ACOG or RCO, rifle combat optic. Got some time with a 240 50 cal Mark 19. Got to throw live grenades. Taught us about patrolling. All that kind of basic combat stuff. Lots of rucking, which was good for fitness, bad for the knees, but it's part and parcel. Moving on from that, I think it was about February of that year where I went to 29 Palms, California for communication school. 29 Palms is a very interesting place. You would think that it's hot all year around. That's not true. Common misconception. It actually gets pretty damn cold out there. Actually saw it snow, I think, twice while I was there. It does get quite cold. It's actually really good place for training in general, especially physical training, because there's just so many different things that you can do out there. Lots of wide open space. I don't recommend staying there for long periods of time. Just me. I'm from the desert, from out in New Mexico. So more desert wasn't exactly what I was looking for when I joined. But after communication school was over, wound up getting my first duty station, which was Okinawa, Japan. I was with Marine Wing Communications Squadron 18. Got out there, started learning a lot more about my job. Communication school was basically, teaching you the major components and, basics of theory, that kind of stuff. And then you actually get out to your first unit and they actually teach you how to operate your piece of equipment. Met some fantastic folks out there, some real mentors of mine for quite some time. Got to experience my first Marine Corps birthday ball out there, which was an experience all of its own. If any one of you guys have ever been to one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't, try and get yourselves invited to one. It's a memory that'll stick with you for a lifetime. Promise you. I believe it was January 2007. I was volunteered to participate in my first shooting competition inside the Marine Corps. We were all standing in formation, and my platoon sergeant comes out, starts asking everybody, who shot expert, hands go up. Okay, who shot expert twice? Hands go up. Who shot it more than twice? And there's only a handful of people with their hands, raised in the air. And even though I'd only been there, enough time to have shot expert like twice, I still got picked somehow. Me and another, I think me and another Lance Corporal got picked. And we were told, subsequently that we were going to be heading out to go do division matches. I mean, neither one of us knew what that was or what the hell was going on. We got put on a division team, a whole bunch of, cats and dogs from everywhere, all over the division. And we got thrown at this, competition. And we spent, I think it's like 2 weeks on Camp Hansen competing. There's a small introductory educational piece at the very beginning where they kind of teach you what's what. This is how you do it. Here are the courses of fire. This is a data book. Here's how you use it. These are, kind of the best accepted practices for positions and stuff like that. Internal, external ballistics. Some things that you need to know heading into this thing. And, us kids not having, a super deep understanding of this stuff, we immediately felt overwhelmed, but we were in, great spirits because we're getting to do some big boy stuff for the first time. And we absolutely love the experience. If you've ever been out to Okinawa, the one thing that is constant is rain. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. I think they get like 300 days of rain a year on average. So it's like January, February. It is cold by Okinawa standards. So like 45 degrees is cold when you're used to a summer being, 110, 115 with like 90, high 90 percentile humidity. I mean, the rain is warm. It's so hot. So we're out there kind of, cold, wet, freezing, trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. It was absolutely fantastic learning experience. I wound up placing, I think I wound up placing second with a rifle, and see if I can find it here. Got some of the stuff pulled up. Let's see if I can remember any of it. There we go. So it was second place with a rifle and 13th place with a pistol. I got, really, really lucky and was accepted onto the division team. And we all got to go out to the All Marine Championships, where each division sends out its, top shooters in order to compete as a division team against other division teams. And then also, individually, And they also kind of kick it up a notch because now instead of using, your regular rat grade, M9 service pistol and rat grade, M16A4 at the time, I think I still had an A2, and then the A4 came later. Anyway, so they give us, match grade weapons, match grade M16A2 with, competition sights, leather sling, jacket, like all this other stuff that we've never used before. And the pistol was a competition, 1911, very, very tight fitting. All, both these guns are extraordinarily accurate, especially with by comparison to, what we had been used to with, our rat grade weapon systems with no additional support, no leather sling, no jacket, none of that stuff. So going out there under the tutelage of Chief Warrant Officer Clark, the Chief Range Officer at the time of Marine Corps Base Okinawa. I think I was just outside of the metal bracket for a rifle, and then for pistol, it was just it was a total shit show. I had never been much of a pistolier. I was just kind of trying to hold on for dear life. But I wound up making the best of it, and was actually invited to try out for the All-Marine shooting team, which takes place over the entirety of a summer. So I stayed from, what was it, like February when those matches were happening? So it was February, March. Anyway, I stayed from March all the way until like the end of August, maybe the 1st of September. Basically traveling all over the place, shooting with the team. I was a Lance Corporal at the time. Definitely the youngest, lowest ranking member of the team at the time. We traveled to all kinds of different places, Oak Ridge, Tennessee being one of them. Fantastic shooting location, great people. Different places in North Carolina. Lots of training there in Quantico, though. Range 4 basically became home. Days start pretty early. I mean, you're up before the sun goes up, drawing weapons, go PT, come back, change over, go train, go train all day. And you're calling it a training day because of light. So, the light's fading out. It's no longer good training value, and you're done. If I remember right, I actually wound up I didn't make the President's 100 that year, but I believe I did get a medal in the national matches that year. I can't remember what medal for the life of me, but I did wind up placing. So once the summer's over, everybody decides that, it's a good idea for me to apply for orders to come to the team. I did so. I applied for the orders. I had to wait until I think it was like October to really hear anything. And the general consensus is, yes, you're going to get orders, but it's going to take a minute. So Chief Warrant Officer Clark, the Chief Range Officer of Marine Corps bases for Okinawa, made a deal with the team that I would stay there in Okinawa. I would be on the 1st Marine Air Wing marksmanship training unit. So I basically would teach classes and take people out to the range and then bring them back, rinse and repeat. And I would do that until the following year for your division matches, Marine Corps matches, and then for the summer, summer shooting season. So got to stay there. We did a pretty extensive train up after Far East Division matches were over. For those matches, let's see here. Those matches, I wound up coming in third place with the rifle, 11th place with the pistol, and I also wound up going rifle distinguished that year. It was like 2009. Wound up going rifle distinguished that year. And then going into Marine Corps championships, all Marine Corps matches, I went pistol distinguished that very same year at those matches. We came very close as a team that year to sweeping the matches. We took the rifle team, pistol team, and if it weren't for a mishap on my behalf, we probably would have taken the infantry team trophy match as well. But things happened, mistakes were made, and luckily there were no hard feelings at the end of it. So then I started my my career on the Marine shooting team as of, I think it was March or April of that year. Lots of training, lots of traveling, lots of shooting. I wish I still had some of the round counts on the weapon systems that I had. Some of my rifles, they were pretty extensive. They were definitely extensive. There's definitely, you're basically shooting out a barrel a season. It's pretty much the average for all the training that we did. And we had, I think, three or four uppers at the time to keep with us. Fast forward to the national matches that year. We showed up, started shooting. One of the big matches is the President's 100. It's a 30-shot match, 10 shots standing, 10 shots prone rapid fire, 10 shots 600-yard line prone slow fire. I wound up coming in 7th that year, 2009. That was a big deal for me. First time being in the shoot off. I think the top 12 or 13 get to shoot off against one another. It's worth looking up. You get to kind of see the process. It'll take significantly less time for you to look it up than it would be for me to explain it. That same year, let's see here. That same year, we did a bunch of different marksmanship clinics, some junior clinics where we teach kids under the age of, I believe it's 21, how to shoot. That same year, I also got a silver medal at the National Rifle Competition for the Excellence in Competition match, which was pretty decent. And it goes into percentages again. It would be easier for you to look it up than it would be for me to explain it. In the winter, we don't really train quite as much, but what we do is we concentrate on a lot more of your schools, concentrate on fitness a lot more because the schedule that we had for the summer was pretty intensive. We still did PT basically every day. But the intensity definitely does kick up in the winter for sure. We'll start helping, train lieutenants and stuff like that because that's one of the main faculties, one of the main missions of Weapons Training Battalion Quantico is to, train lieutenants in marksmanship. Also at the time, the Scout Sniper schoolhouse was also there. I don't think it's there anymore. I think the Marine Corps closed it down. But it was there and active at the time. moving into the following year, I went to basic instructor course where we were able to actually, learn how to instruct, pitch, tone, inflection, um, body language, things of that nature, stuff that's not necessarily intuitive to people. Public speaking, big deal, especially for us on the Marine shooting team, because we teach at so many different locations over so many months. I mean, that was also my first time traveling, to all these different locations. The Far East Division, which was Okinawa, the Pacific Division, which was Hawaii, Western Division, which was Camp Pendleton, and then the Eastern Division, which is over at Camp Lejeune, more specifically Stone Bay. And then, you're also providing instruction for the All Marine Championships while you're also competing there as well. So that was kind of a big deal, big transition during that winter, is prepping and getting ready for all that stuff. Moving into 2010, I came in third place with the pistol at the Eastern Division shooting matches. I also came in, top 100 in the President's 100. I made it that year. Let's see. And then I came in 10th overall at the NRA National Rifle Competition, which is a fairly big deal for a service class competitor to be able to get that high, just because it is it's open. So you're competing against a bunch of different classes of weapons. So people could have, all kind of different sights, shooting different calibers. It's basically just wide open. So that was a huge accomplishment for me that year. I also, at the Civilian Marksmanship Program, CMP Nationals, I came in, or I was a gold medal winner in the Excellence in Competition match that year, which was pretty much on par with with my skill set at the time. Let's see. I believe that was also the first year we went to the Spirit of America, or the full bore nationals bolt gun shooting match. There's a specific set of rules. Again, it would be significantly easier for you to look it up than it would be for me to explain it. It's all shot prone. You start at the 300-yard line. I believe it's unlimited sighters and 10 shots for record. Could be 15 shots for record. Again, it's been quite a few years. I can't really remember. It's been over a decade. But you do that at the 300, 500, 600, 900, and 1,000. I think you do that every day. And I think we competed for something like 3 or 4 days. I mean, it gets a little on the repetitive side, but shooting in, Raton, New Mexico, where there's plenty of high wind, lots of amazing like world level competitors out there. It's very, very difficult. First year was extremely humbled. Learned a lot about, weapon setup, about gear setup, being efficient, reading wind. I had never had to shoot that far back in that as significant a wind condition. It was pretty intense, and it was an amazing learning opportunity. I actually wound up setting a national record in the service category that year at 900 yards, which was a huge deal. It's the first time I've done anything even close to that. And just had a fantastic time doing it. Great group of folks. The next year, was an even bigger year just in general in my career, because I did a lot. I did a lot that year. So I let's see here. 2011 was a gold medal winner in the excellence in competition match. Let's see what else. 2011, I placed 7th with the pistol at the Eastern Division shooting matches. I went to combat marksmanship coaches course. So that's one of the courses where you learn how to teach people specifically about how to shoot weapon systems. I went to combat marksmanship trainer course in 2011, which is your next tier up, and it teaches you how to create combat marksmanship coaches. I went to foreign weapons instructor course. They teach you all about a lot of the foreign weapons that you would come across in a deployed environment, even some that are kind of outside the scope of where we were operating at the time. But you come across things like Dishkas, RPDs, PKMs, AK-47s, obviously, G3s, G17s, just a large plethora of weapon systems, how they're operated, how to make them inert in case you run across them, and you want to do enemy denial, and you don't want to tow the weapon with you, that kind of stuff. It was a fantastic course. You get to shoot a lot of different guns. It was a great time, great information. I also went to airborne school that year, 3 weeks. It was a good time. It really was. It wasn't nearly as difficult as I thought. The hardest part is surviving the first 24 hours, just because there's a huge cut during the first day. I think we started the first morning with like 600 people, and then by the end of the first morning, after the paperwork and the Army PFT, I think there was like 300 people left. Some of it is attitude. Some of it is the fact that people just couldn't make the physical standard. And there's a small piece of it that's the deference of the instructor staff. So if you go in there with a bad attitude, even if you are in good shape, you'll never see the other side of the APFT. You just won't. And they don't have enough space to take everybody all at once. So cuts have to happen. I was lucky enough to recognize that early enough to kind of keep myself out of the limelight and get through airborne school. Again, a great time. Had a few mishaps along the way. I had a parachute collapse on me at about 70 to 100 feet. Fell, bounced off the ground a couple times. Was kind of jacked up. My roommates had to help me get dressed that morning. Had to help me run down to the flight line. I was able to make it through it. Just yeeted myself out of the airplane. Made it to the DZ, made it through graduation, and then spent about a month seeing a chiropractor every day so that I could get back to something resembling normal function. But there was definitely some pretty amazing things to be seen and experienced there at jump school. So I was really happy that I was able to go. Moving back to the competition kind of stuff, again, President's 100 that year. I'd say 2011 was a much bigger year for doing stuff outside of shooting competition. I think that year I also went to the Republic of Georgia, right outside of Tbilisi. uh, or was that 2009? It's kind of hard to keep track of some of these things, but anyway, one of those years while I was on the team, I went to the Republic of Georgia in Tbilisi, and we got to assist in bringing the 31st Georgian Battalion into NATO with, M4s, just M9s, NATO weapon systems was primarily what we did. We created a range complex for them right outside Tbilisi at their camp. Spent about a month out there. It was a great experience. Good bunch of dudes. My first time, obviously, being over in the Republic of Georgia. Tbilisi itself was pretty amazing. One of the coolest things that I saw while I was out there was there was this old church that was there kind of in the middle of town, and it is one of the only buildings that had not been destroyed in all the times that Tbilisi had been razed. It's been destroyed many, many, many times. It's one of the only buildings that hasn't. I forget how old this thing is, but it's intensely old. It is 9 feet. The courtyard itself is 9 feet below street level because everything around it has been destroyed and rebuilt so many times. It was really, really magnificent. I was really lucky to be able to go see it. That was the year that I won the McDougal Trophy. So at the All Marine Championships, that is the high rifle competitor, which for me was a big deal, being a primarily rifle competitor the entire time that I was on the Marine team. That's a huge deal. It was very much a high point for me, and actually, for the most part, demonstrated to me that I had learned enough to be able to compete against the folks, at least within the Marine Corps, that I thought were extremely exceptional shooters, and prevail, for lack of a better term. 2011, I came in third place overall at the full bore national shooting competition. We got invited to go back again. And that year I set 2 national records for the service category at 900 and 1,000. So I broke my previous one and then set a new one for the service category that year. Again, extremely tough shooters. I learned a lot. I practiced a lot. I practiced a ton for that particular match in the year leading up to it. And it definitely paid off. I remember in that particular shooting match, we were, I think we were at the 1,000-yard line, and I had something in the neighborhood of like 36 to 40 inches of wind compensation dialed onto my sights at the time. And I shot that course of fire as fast as I humanly could load and pull the trigger, just trying to keep everything within the same, basic wind condition, where a lot of other folks were taking their time, obviously trying to deliver as accurate a shots as possible, and doing so, they put themselves in a precarious position because the wind would shift or change velocity, and they would only get 1, maybe 2 shots downrange in the time it took me to shoot like 5. So, I was doing a fifth of the wind corrections that they were doing in the same amount of time, basically. And it wound up working out pretty good for me there. Again, great shooting match, great location, absolutely loved it. Raton, New Mexico, up at the Whittington Center, is an absolutely amazing place to go shoot. I definitely recommend it for anybody. So, spend the winter getting ready to PCS. So a permanent change of station. It's time for my orders to be up for the Marine Corps shooting team and move on to go to the regular Marine Corps, or as some people call it, going to the fleet, where I got stationed at 8th Communications Battalion in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I don't think I had my bags unpacked all the way when I got pulled into the operations staff and CO's office, and they let me know that I'm slated to go on deployment, and just don't even get comfortable because you're fixing to find a new home here real soon. And that's exactly what happened in 2012. I wound up getting assigned to a provincial police advisor team. And we were going to be sent to Afghanistan the coming year. So I think we all got put together in something like May of 2012, and we went through this entire training package where we were taught defensive pistol, tactical, casualty care, driving all the different vehicle systems that we're going to have over in country, lots of IED courses. For those of you who don't know, that's improvised explosive devices, bombs, booby traps, that kind of fun stuff. Some of the Pashto and Dari language. So we did have some language skills going on there. And then for our final exercise, we were sent to Camp Wilson in 29 Palms, where we basically executed our job, but there were a bunch of American and Afghan role players that were all kind of helping prepare us for what it is that we were going to do when we got over to Afghanistan. Got to Afghanistan, an amazing experience. Probably one of the best deployment experiences you could hope for. From at least during the first 6 months or so of the deployment, there was only 14 of us, from Lance Corporal to full bird colonel. There was an equal amount of officers to enlisted, and it was an amazing dynamic. I can't say that I cared for the second 6 months as much. A lot of that team dynamic got shifted. Our mission also changed from side by side advising to over the shoulder advising. So basically, we got to do significantly fewer operations with the people we were advising, which was the provincial police staff. And we basically just kind of went over, checked on them a couple times a week, had a few meetings, and that was basically it. And that was a long 6 months. It was a very long 6 months. I definitely did not care for that 6 months. That's for sure. Backside of that, did a year-long deployment. Come back home in December of that year. It's 2013 now. December of 2013, we come home. Then I take over as platoon sergeant for a communications platoon. Do that up till 2015. 2015, I actually am able to get back into shooting, back into competing. I'm sorry, 2014, I was actually able to get back into competing again. So 2014, I went to the Eastern Division shooting matches, placed fourth place with a pistol. I don't think I did well with the rifle that year. Took a team out from the from 8th Communications Battalion, trying to get them, involved in everything. Each battalion is supposed to have money set aside to be able to send their people to these, and it was such a good experience for me that I wanted to involve other people in it. So I went 2014. Obviously did pretty good there. Went back, did my platoon sergeant time. 2015 rolls around, take another team back out. So I wound up placing 16th, overall, which is pretty decent when you're doing a combination rifle and pistol. I was invited out. I was invited out to go do a summer with the Marine shooting team again, which was actually a pretty good year. Wound up coming in 20th overall in 2015 for the rifle nationals, which is cool because I actually went to shoot with the pistol team in 2015. There's a match called the Hearst Doubles. There's only two of you. You kind of coach each other on the course of fire. Again, it's going to be easier for you to look it up than it is going to be for me to explain the entirety of the thing. But me and my shooting partner at the time came in seventh overall in the Hearst Doubles team match. Let's see what else. Placed in the President's 100 that year. At the Marine Corps Championships, we swept everything. My team won the interdivision rifle, interdivision pistol team matches, and the infantry team trophy match. Again, easier for you to look it up than it is for me to explain it. But those are all very hard, very competitive matches. We actually wound up doing sweeping competitions both in 2015 and 2016. I believe for 2015, I think I mentioned it before, but at the national championships, I came in 16th overall with a pistol, which is, shooting one-handed, it's extremely difficult. It's definitely tough. Definitely tough. I recommend it. Let's see. I also got invited to go to the Royal Marine operational shooting competition just outside of Liverpool in England. That was absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. It's probably one of the most difficult matches that I've ever shot. Physically extremely demanding. I would say that the propensity for injury, just because of how physical the competition is extremely high. Most people wind up with pulled muscles, shin splints, plantar fasciitis by the end. It's a ton of sprinting. But luckily for us American Marines, we actually have a pretty deep foundation in marksmanship in general, and we were actually able to overcome that deficit with just pure shooting skill. We were definitely outclassed, hands down, physically. It was everything we could do to keep up with the French, Dutch, and British Marines that were present at that competition. We wound up doing extremely well. The sergeant major at the time said that that was the most wins any one team has ever had at this competition in his living memory. And he had been around for, I don't know, like 20, 27, 28 years, something along those lines. He'd been around for quite some time. I was the international champion at arms, the international rifle and pistol champion. We were the rifle and pistol team match winners, and we were the overall team champions that year. We had a ton of, second and third place finishes for basically everything. I mean, we walked away with a ton of medals and trophies and prizes and things like that. It was absolutely great. As a matter of fact, my favorite prize of that entire competition wasn't even given to me at the award ceremony. It was given to me after everything was said and done. The French Marines lieutenant came up to me and gave me a bottle of Bordeaux, and it was hands down the best wine I've ever had in my life. So if you're out there, LT, and you see this, again, thank you so much. That was absolutely amazing. And that basically ruined wine for me for the rest of my life. Everything else is paled in comparison. So that year being over, I start looking to end my active service, or EAS. My contract's about up. I didn't want to re-enlist. At that time, I had made my way up to the battalion S2, where we take care of all the crypto equipment, and we run people's background checks and all that kind of stuff. I've been promoted to staff sergeant by that time, and I got to see how operations and everything, including the politics, got to see how all that ran up at the battalion, and that was not something that I was morally, ethically okay with. There's a saying that is perpetuated, I think, in all branches, but the saying is that you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the enemy, or the villain, I guess. And I was basically the antithesis of your standard staff non-commissioned officer. I wasn't part of the club, if you will, because I still believed that you were there to protect the troops, and to make sure that the mission was accomplished without, running them into the ground and, basically taking advantage of them. And a lot of the staff didn't feel that way. They just took care of each other and made sure that they were good, and then kind of, moved on about their business, and whatever happened to the troops happened to the troops. And I wasn't a part of that mentality. I didn't think that was the way that things should be done. I thought that everybody should be held accountable regardless of your rank or position. I didn't make very many friends with that kind of mentality, and decided that maybe seeking life outside the Marine Corps was probably a better idea for me. So I made the decision to go to engineering school. I was really upset at the gear and equipment situation that myself and other troops have had to deal with for the vast majority of their career. I thought that it was absolutely pitiful that we got such poor equipment. And the reason I went to engineering school is to try and figure out how to kind of make that better. If nobody else was going to do it, I would do it. So spite got me through about 4 years of engineering school. I was married at the time. Wound up, having some troubles, and a divorce ensued, and that pretty much stopped my engineering career dead in its tracks. I had to start looking for different things to do. The entire time I was going to engineering school, I was also part of the Army Reserves. I didn't give up 10 years of active duty service time. I think there was only like a 30-day break in service between my end of active duty in the Marine Corps and when I re-enlisted into the Army Reserves. So 2016, let me see. So 2017 is when I competed with the Army Reserve team for the first time. I'll give you kind of the abbreviated version. I'm sure there's stuff I'm leaving out, but so for example, President's 100, we talked about all that. I placed in the President's 100 from 2017 to 2021, skipping 2020. I can't remember exactly why, what happened in 2020 per se that I didn't make President's 100, but it's neither here nor there. See, 2019 or 2017, I won the Porter Cup, which is a service category 1,000-yard shooting match. So I think it's like unlimited sighters and 20 shots for record and a time limit of like 22 minutes, something along those lines. So that was my first like real national level win, and was not only just proud but extremely shocked at actually being able to win at that level. Especially with a service, with an AR-10 308 service rifle, shooting ball ammo. I mean, it wasn't anything special, but I just, everything came together, and it was a fantastic experience. Moving into 2018, I was a sitting rapid fire national match winner, the Scott Trophy winner. I think that I won that trophy with it was like a 200 with 18 or 200 with 16 or something along those lines. I think it was 200 with 18. No, I can't remember. It's been a long time. So it was either two 8X 100s back to back, or it was two 9Xs. I can't remember for the life of me. 2019, I was the NRA service rifle national champion. I was the high reservist, and I was the rapid fire aggregate national champion that year. Which put me, as far as the NRA goes, the National Rifle Association Nationals, that put me at like third overall, with the guys shooting, much larger caliber weapons, bolt action, kind of whatever optics they want. I mean, it's wide open for, whatever they want to do. And for a service rifle guy to be able to do that was extremely cool, extremely humbling. I put absolutely everything I had into that match, and that's basically what it took in order to win. 2019 was my first time going to the Armed Forces Skill at Arms meet. Fantastic match, very much like the Royal Marine Operational Shooting Competition, but this is basically, wide open to anybody and everybody. A lot of Army personnel. Marines do show up sometimes. We even had some Royal Air Force folks show up. 2019, I was the high international shooter, and in 2019, I placed second place overall. The team as a whole did absolutely fantastic. We took a bunch of awards home. With a very, very good showing for us that year. Let me back up one. 2018, I went to the Forces Command shooting competition. And you kind of have to pick what weapon system it is you're going to use. You either use rifle, pistol, or the squad automatic weapon, SAW. And I picked the rifle, and that year I wound up winning that particular match, and was awarded the Meritorious Service Medal by Sergeant Major Grinston, who was then in charge of Forces Command, and then eventually wound up moving into being the Sergeant Major of the Army. So then, see, 2018 also, I was one of the firing members for the Infantry Team Trophy National Championship team. We set a new reserve component record that year, which was absolutely awesome. We had a really, really awesome team that year. We got pretty lucky on a win call, if I remember correctly, but everything worked out. And then moving into 2020, Armed Forces Skill at Arms meet. I was a high international shooter again. Didn't quite do as well overall as I had wanted to, but certain things happen. Not a terribly big deal. Let's see what else. And then was invited out to All Army in 2021. I was actually working down in Fort Benning, Georgia at the time as a marksmanship and weapons and tactics trainer, and got invited out to All Army. That was a fantastic match. There's a ton of people out there. It's actually a lot more taxing than the Armed Forces Skill at Arms meet. I think there are just more matches a day that they squeeze into the 5 days that everybody competes. I think it's more rudimentary in the skill and ability that you need to display at All Army. So it's more like pure marksmanship, whereas the Armed Forces Skill at Arms meet, I think, is a lot more moving and shooting. Not that you don't move and shoot at All Army, but I think it's just geared more toward your pure marksmanship than it is trying to even out a combination of the two. But I wound up placing third overall at All Army 2021. And that was the last time that I competed up until recently. In that gap, the contract that I was on there at Fort Benning actually wound up coming to an end. So I had to figure out something to do in the meantime. So I wound up going to flight school. Excuse me. When I'm going to flight school, I got all of my certifications for flight school done in, I think, right about 6 months, maybe just over 6 months. So you're, single engine land, single engine instrument, multi-engine, certified flight instructor, multi-engine instructor, and flight instructor instrument rating. So I got all those done in 6 months, which is intensely fast. In many respects, it is worse than engineering school. Just the sheer volume of learning and executing on a daily basis. I would say that school in itself was probably an average of a 15-hour day for 6 months straight. It was absolutely one of the most intense things that I've done, hands down. Absolutely wonderful. I love flying. I think everybody should try flying an airplane at least once. Little known fact is I hate heights. I don't like them, but when I'm in the cockpit of an airplane, it is completely different. 100% different. I absolutely love it. Into flight school, I'm looking for a job, and I'm lucky enough that one of the companies that I worked for previously gives me a call. They've got a contract where they need a project manager. So, they explained to me the whole gig. I say, you know what? All right, great, let's do it. Simultaneously, I'm also joining the National Guard. So I get out here and start doing the project manager stuff. Get into the National Guard, start get my feet underneath me. I'm invited out to another competition. So it's now, mid 2023. And the last time I competed was 2021. Wound up going out to the MAC Regional up in Raton, which, again, beautiful, beautiful place. Absolutely love it. Unless I'm running up there, because it's like, I don't know, 7,000 or 8,000 feet of elevation. It's high, especially compared to where I'm at right now, which is like 3,500 feet, something like that. So that one is more comparable to the Royal Marine Operational Shooting Competition. Lots and lots of running, lots of physical activity with some shooting mixed in. I'd say it's probably more, it's more physical to an extent, but it's just not as sustained as our mosque was. Invited out, match ran great. There was a lot of fantastic people out there I met, some for the first time. There was actually a dude that I met there that was at Weapons Training Battalion Quantico as a sniper instructor at the same time that I was there on the shooting team. Great to, see a familiar face again. I wound up doing pretty well at this shooting competition. I wound up coming in, I believe it was like second overall. Had quite a few. I think it was the high pistol. It was the pistol match winner, pistol overall or whatever. Bunch of second, third place wins. I won a few of the individual matches themselves. So it was really, really good. It felt great to get out and compete again. I did significantly better than I thought I was going to do. Um, really can't complain there. Um, and that kind of sums up everything since 2006. Sorry that things got a little jumbled up there. Again, I'm operating primarily off of memory with a few notes here and there. It's pretty difficult to sum up 17, 18 years worth of information, in just a few minutes. But hopefully that satisfies your curiosity and gives you a little bit of insight as to, who I am and some of the things that I've done in my career. I almost certainly left some things out. Hopefully, that was good information for everybody, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any, questions, comments, or concerns, just make sure and hit me up and let me know. I'll answer your questions the best I can. I hope you found this information helpful and entertaining. If so, like this video and consider subscribing. Make sure that you hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. If you would like to schedule a one-on-one meeting to discuss any issues you're having, have questions about a video, or just looking for advice, the information to my Instagram page is in the description box below.